How is everyone doing? Hi, Corey.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Kate.
So, yeah, we had a completely different plan for today's live stream, but then Google went and released three new stable models. How absolutely selfish of them. And so, we've got to test them. Jean-Claude would not let us do any other. Jean-Claude? Jean-Luc. I'm thinking of Claude too much. Oh my God. Sorry, Jean-Luc. Jean-Luc wouldn't let us do any other stream. He was like, no, you got to compare. And so we were like, well, you ask, we oblige, and we'll get your name wrong. So, not the worst name getting wrong that I've had. I know two-year-olds, and they're both called the same name in my mind. I can't. The one that I see more and the one I see less is called the same as the one that I see more because I can't compute another name existing. Um, Hello, Jean-Luc. Hello, Nikki. Hello, Garganton. Um, yeah, so what we're going to do today is test the reasoning models. We want to find out at what point there is the cost usefulness barrier, like balance. Like, at what point does it become needed to use the more expensive model, that kind of thing. So, and then also see how much we can get away with being cheapskates. I don't know if you remember over Christmas when we tried to do like how cheap can we write a short story, and it turned out very cheap. So, now the models have had 6 months to marinate. Let's see what we can do. Hi, Joe. What drink do you have this week? Make me jealous. I had a vanilla latte with like vanilla ice cream blended in like an iced latte. I had that this morning because, it's a sauna here. It's like the humidity is up. Like, it's not just the heat, it's just really humid. Like, we've been having intermittent like rain, but it doesn't cool anything down. For those of you who want to see this completely empty Notion doc, here you go. If someone could comment and copy and paste that into a comment for everyone else, that also would be really good. If someone wants to be really nice and do that, I would greatly appreciate it because I don't have YouTube open. But the live link is there. So yeah, does anyone have any questions? Has anyone had any experience with the new Gemini models? Does anyone have any questions? What are your thoughts about it? Like, Corey, what are your thoughts now? Have you started playing around with them?
Yeah, so I've been playing around with 2.5 Pro since it was basically released in March, and it's been
Oh
my
yeah,
go-to for chat
yeah,
ever since that time, right? But
same.
since the new Flash, the stable Flash, I've been just using it, just to see how it is. Um, and for most of what I do in chat, it's like great, and
Yeah,
it's noticeably faster, right? And flashlight is actually very, very similar.
okay.
Uh,
So you're not seeing a big difference in the?
if between flash and flashlight, I'm not seeing a huge difference, except in performance. Flashlight is just like boom, it
Yeah, it's
just
like the speed. It
responds.
is. It is Flash. Yeah.
Yeah,
Although every time I
yeah.
hear Flash, it makes me think of the Sillet Bang or like the Flash adverts for the cleaning stuff. I don't know if you get that in America, but it's like Flash Speed Mop. And yeah, it gets in my head. So do you think they've taken away the sycophantic behavior in the new release Gemini Pro? We'll have a look. We'll see. See what we can do with that. I should probably include like a cost table or something here. Like, I don't know. We can maybe Corey can add that in, or I can do it after. Input. Hey Samo, how's it going? It's going okay. Oh, you are amazing. Yeah, I mean, it'll still be roasting. How do I get rid of? I just want to get rid of the row. Yeah. Um. Later us can deal with that. Okay, so we've got a table for input output. So the first test I want to do with a thinking model, okay, so it's got some thoughts of its own. How is it for research? Like, and I kind of thought, well, when we were like thinking this through, we were like, let's see how it is with names, because a lot of the issues when brainstorming with AI is that it'll come up with the same ideas, and when you're a new user with AI, you don't necessarily know what those names are that it's going to keep coming up with. And so loads of people end up with the same names, and we don't want that for our stories. We want to keep going with something original. So we're going to put them to their paces. So we're going to do like 3 tiers of testing. The first is going to be like, we're almost trying to get those repeat names, urban fantasy female protagonist names. Like, I'm expecting my Laras, Lyras, all that kind of thing. And then secondly, we're going to give it a little bit of thinking. So maybe like, what should we go with for second tier? Corey, do you have any ideas?
Well, I mean, one of the things that these models do really well is if you give them like constraints. Um,
Yeah. So like maybe a light constraint for the second one and then a heavier constraint for the third.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess for like a heavier constraint, that's probably easier to work out, and then we can go back from there. So maybe we could do something like let's go um, fantasy names inspired by 1960s New England um, by names. Okay, I feel like okay, so fantasy names inspired by names prominent in 1960s New England. Do you feel like you could judge whether these are like accurate or not,
No,
or should I put a
because in
different?
the 1960s, I was in Southern California, so
Fine, California.
I I'm I'm
There
a
you go.
I'm a transplant.
Ah, okay. Okay, so that's like very specific. And then maybe we go for we're still trying to keep fantasy because we're like trying to not make it too different. So then yeah, Victorian name. Let's go Victorian fantasy Gothic fantasy protagonist uh female names. We're
Yeah,
just seeing, and what we're doing is like, it doesn't matter what the output is, we're just seeing what AIisms come up with. So it's going to be like, essentially, it's going to be like please give me a list of 20 and then the thing
yeah.
below. So we're going to start off by going into prompts, and then I'm going to go new and then model collection. We're going to call this Gemini tests. And then I'm going to add Gemini 2.5. Flash. Gemini 2.5. I guess flashlight preview will be it. And I mean, I don't want to take that bet. I feel like Sarah Chen is a name that will almost certainly come up. Um, Maybe not with urban fantasy. That's kind of like where we're trying to be a little bit different. No, not that one.
But when Kate and I were playing around on Wednesday, Sarah Chen came like immediately.
Yeah, and Lara, Soren. Okay, chat. Let's. Oh, and then, which I forgot, I need to then go to the general purpose chat and attach a collection. Gemini tests. Go
Easy
here.
peasy.
Easy peasy. Um, General chat. Wait. Maybe I need to detach my tests. That's something we need to flag up. Why isn't it showing?
I jinxed it.
Maybe it's because of my my defaults.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think my defaults are overriding. That's fine. I'll just turn off my defaults. So I'm just archiving them. Oh my god. I thought I detached. Okay. Oh, did I archive the wrong... Wait. Oh, wait. How's that? Is it not attached? Okay. I think it didn't attach my Gemini tests. Okay. Right. Oh my god. That was a bit of a stress. Please give me a list of 20 urban fantasy female protagonist names. And we're going to do this with Flashlight, Flash, add, and Flash and Pro. Nikki says blame the heat. Yeah. I mean, you can already see the difference in the speed, I think.
Oh, yeah,
I think that's...
absolutely.
Yeah. So let's start off with... Okay, instantly, I'm like, okay, well, Flashlight and Pro have both given me full names, and Flash has just given me first names. Very interesting. Okay, so Rowan's come up, Alara, Willowbrook as a name, Blackwood, Thorn, Rook, um, Thorn again.
Yep.
Yeah, Alara. So I think we can immediately say that Flashlight is lots of AIisms in the naming. Anya Blair. Oh my god, it seems to have gone alphabetical. Alara, Karis, Blair, Anya, Harper. I feel like Flash has done less AIisms, but might be because it's not done any surnames.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely those first names though are there's a lot more interesting ones there than in Flashlight.
Yeah, for sure. Morgan, Astrid, Sabrina, Maeve, Thea, Juniper, Cora, Ren. And I feel like we do have AIisms here, but like not also there's some more interesting names.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um so now we're gonna go for please give me a list of... I'll just do these in the same chat just to kind of...
Yeah, we can see how much it influenced it.
Yeah. Okay. It stuck Sarah in there, I'm counting it. Okay, Eleonora Ashworth, Evangeline Dubois, Genevieve. Okay, so it's still going backward. Thorn. I feel like it's improved. Odette, that's interesting.
Mhm.
Rosalind. I feel like surnames have stayed more AIist, but the rest are improved. Would you agree?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm noticing like Ravenscroft, right? That always like seems to
Yeah,
come up, right?
yeah, it's the
Um,
surnames more than the first names that are feeling
yeah.
AI. Like,
Mhm.
um,
Definitely, though, the names do. I feel like they would fit in
yeah,
Victorian Gothic, right? So,
yeah, for sure. Um, Flash. I mean, these feel like solid names.
mhm. And they feel like era specific too.
Yeah,
So,
and it's funny how it's done it in alphabetical order. It's done one for each letter of the alphabet. Like, I'm
yeah.
very interested in that. Um,
Like Wilhelmina is a great name. I mean, that's
yeah, I
where
love the name
you know
Wilhelmina. Yeah.
from Dracula. So,
Okay, Eleanor Fane, Adeline Grimm, Lydia Fell. I feel like again, surnames seem to be a weaker spot in this guiding.
mhm.
Although we've got some interesting surnames, like I'm there's some surnames I'm more interested in here, I think. Um,
Really
okay,
curious
let's see
about
this one.
this one.
So fast. That is insane. Okay, Lark Door is Lark. Like these names, okay. River Starling. I I agree with
Yep,
Jean-Luc. There's
sure,
definitely usable stuff for each budget here.
sure.
Um, yeah, Cher, Bruce. I mean, are these names sound familiar? Were your classes in school filled with
No,
winds and gales? No.
no, but I mean, we have to be more specific and say like maybe born in the 1960s,
Mm.
because especially for flower children, there were a lot of fantasy inspired names, kind of like what we were seeing at the top of
Yeah,
Flashlight. So,
that is true. That is true. Okay, let's have a look at Flash. Hanyon. Wow. Dahlia, Echo, Fern, Harmony. I mean, to be honest, all of these I like. I feel like it's definitely got more in character. Like there are still obviously Riverwood, Willow, but they
moon,
don't feel out of
moon,
place.
moonbeam.
Yeah.
That, that
I mean, yeah, I
that's
guess
pretty
a fantasy.
stereotypically California.
Yeah. And it's a fantasy name inspired by California, so it works. Starla, Sonoma. Okay. We will share again. Willow Reed. Read some haze, share. Oh yeah, these sound so hippie. Like this is great. Linda Solaris, Starling Flinch, Robbie Canyon, Susie Bloom, Ruby Tuesday. Interesting. Like I think I think all three I could probably say were like,
Yeah.
I'm just
And,
gonna put
and
all
I,
pretty good.
I think that has to do with the prompt is a lot more specific than the prior two prompts.
No Sarah
Yeah, like
Chen, yeah.
yeah. She just wasn't there in Southern California.
Yeah, there were no Sarahs. They're probably like design the AI to use. Yay. Okay. So that is experiment one. Now, thinking models aren't usually the best for writing prose. We've found kind of so far, like they're all right, but they're not. Adding the thinking is not necessarily worth the additional cost, especially if it's like a more expensive model. I mean, obviously, some people will find it different. For the style of writing that we do, or the stuff that we've written in our like own personal times, it's not. But they're really good at making plan of attacks and then using a cheaper or using a different model, like a model better at writing, to then do the writing. So let's put this to a test. We're going to test each model in making a scene brief for part of my story. If we have time, we can like use another model to generate prose, but like for this, we're just gonna look at the briefs. I'm wondering whether to use the scene doctor,
Maybe.
like the
Yeah.
plot doctor, like because that usually like
Yeah.
we could come up with something. Um, so let's go. Okay, well I'm gonna have to add it first. Um, Touch collection, Gemini tests. This is the same prompt that we did when we did the scene summary doctor like stuff. So um, uh, left. Oh, flash. And then okay, so I don't know if these are all these are general chat. One sec. Let me. Oh my god. Basic scene summary doctor. Flash. Okay, what kind of story shall we get a plan for? Um, um, Doreen and Phyllis are attempting to keep the scones hidden from the alien invaders who want to steal all the sugar, or the carbohydrates. Um, they discover that the alien is weak to what in a garden center is an alien weak to? Do they have hay fever maybe or something else?
I mean, roses would be obvious, right?
Mm. Uh, and use this to fight. I realize if I do that first. Oh, wait. Why is that the same as that? That's so weird. Um,
I think you found something interesting.
yeah.
I was noticing as you were typing the the chat message for the middle one was filling up.
It is not wanting to switch to friggin' no matter what I do. That is rude. Uh, okay. I mean, I think what we can know is that they like to chat.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is 4,600. Okay, let's now have a look. Whimsical and fun premise. Doreen and Phyllis are hiding scones from carbohydrate conjugate aliens. Um, feels more like a scene description than a that's fine. To make this a robust outline, we need to flesh it out. Yep. Oh yeah, we should. Yeah, I'll check the costs after, and I can put those on. We can do some adding. The fact that Pro is still thinking. Okay. I mean, it's interesting. I think it's very interesting how it's like looked at the codex and it's looked at um like the genres and stuff and
Yeah.
seeing like trying to see where it is. That's very interesting. I like that it's wanting to give the aliens a more active presence. Um, um,
I'm seeing why Pro took a long time. He did kind of a deep dive.
oh, okay. Oh, well, I will have to have a look. I've not been looking at that. I've just been. Okay, I'm going to skip through a lot of this because I mean it's just me reading. Let's just see what it suggests as its final. Like once it's had the three, what its final summary is. I think that's probably the best. Okay, so Doreen settles in for a customary afternoon tea with Phyllis, quite because scones disappear. She gets unnerved as okay, so her carbohydrates are vanishing with a faint hum. A comical but desperate attempt to secure their remaining baked goods, devising increasingly elaborate hiding spots, yet the elusive intruder consistently outsmarts them. The mysterious progresses to bizarre confirmation when Doreen catches a fleeting, shimmering glimpse of the intruder. A crucial turning point occurs in Doreen's rose garden during a frantic attempt to move a tray of scones. Toto playfully scatters dried rose petals, eliciting a sharp sizzling sound and a distinct recoil from the invisible alien. This accidental revelation sparks daring theory. They lure the carbohydrate-hungry alien scout Glob into a confrontation within the rose garden. I mean, yeah, this is. And they now have an alien artifact. I mean, that is farcical, and I kind of like it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Let's see how different flashes on it. Okay, understands the core concept. Okay, I like how it's always like it's like these are new elements, but there's no reason that they shouldn't be there.
Right, right.
Um, I will assume is this the first chapter? I'm going to assume it introduces a new conflict. It needs to be self-contained enough to start a story, but engaging enough to make the reader want to know what happened before. Um, okay, let's see now what does meticulously preparing. God. Carbohydrate obsessed alien has infiltrated the house, targeting the delectable scones. As they strive to safeguard their baked goods, the alien's aggressive pursuit is met with unexpected phenomena and violent allergic reaction. I feel like this isn't as good as Flash Light. Oh no, this is
This
Flashlight.
is
That's
Flashlight,
why.
yeah.
This
Yeah.
is Flashlight. I feel this is not as good as Flash.
I mean, the thing that's interesting about Flashlight, not it would be painful to do it as a human, but you could ask Flashlight for like 10 versions of this and then ask 2.5 Pro to pick the best one.
That is true. That is
because
true.
because when you hit send on on the Flashlight one, it immediately came back with a response. There wasn't a
Yeah.
pause,
I
you
mean, I'm
know.
kind of curious now, given that it was like 3,800 words. Yeah, I mean, this was like zero point 0.3 of a cent. So yeah, that's nothing. 2 cents for Flash, and almost 10 cents for Gemini. So Gemini better give us a Pro. Better give us a good thing. Um, okay, okay. What it sees that it's comedy and action. Um, okay, I like that Discovery of the Algae should feel like a genuine surprise they cleverly exploit. Um, okay, it's looking at the series again. The series description is broad. The comedic sci-fi twists perfectly fit. They have a clear of silly motivation. Yep. So it has made some assumptions, but they're all fine. I feel like a human would make those. Um, was there anything in particular you noticed while it was generating and I wasn't looking?
Well, one of the things that 2.5 Pro does really well is it leaves breadcrumbs along the way to justify the story, and
Yeah,
then it'll go back, as it's still working through it, and do callbacks to those, within the overall, like, outline.
yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah, because I like how here it's like they've got them discussing the carbohydrate bandit. Like they're kind of being like, they're discussing the fact that scones are going missing, and then yeah, they start. Okay. Complicated by Toto's dedicated efforts to eat them. Um, okay, so it's like okay, I like that. It's an accident. It feels funny that they're using every floral thing in the room. I'm imagining them getting like curtains with floral patterns, and they're like, "Yeah, we're using this as well, just in case it's not the pollen, it's the site of flowers." In the messy aftermath, they find the scones regrettably squished. The victory feels hollow until Phyllis spots something blinking on the rug. In its panic, the alien dropped. Oh, its small scanning device. I thought it was going to be its eye blinking or something. Like the alien dropped its eye, and I was like, "What?" As they stare at the strange object, the first piece of a much large puzzle, Doreen's husband wanders from the den, asking, "Is it floral in here? Did I miss anything?" Yeah, that's. Yeah, I mean, that is definitely my favorite. Like it feels a lot more realistic. Like in this farcical thing, like it feels more like less forced.
Yeah, and
Absolutely,
I
you
think, well, like if like at the top when you were reading, it was making a lot of like justification steps based on the limited information that it knew, right?
yeah.
Um, so
So it's
that's
kind of like
that's why
applying
at that
logic.
yeah, that's why at the end things feel like more cohesive, I think.
Yeah, and I think there's definitely with this test a clear jumping step between flashlight, flash, and pro,
Yeah,
in terms of like the logic, how it's thrown, how it's
yeah,
using this. Also
yeah,
interesting that like the word count, like Gemini Pro has used a lot fewer tokens, but it's been able to do everything a lot better.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I
yeah.
mean,
I
it
mean,
says
I'm not surprised by this outcome really because
no. We've used 2.5 Pro so much to yeah. Fascinating. The speeds OpenRouter provides here. So Gemini Pro is 86 tokens per second.
Mhm.
Flash is 120 tokens per second, so not that much more. Flash, light, do you want to guess how many tokens per second?
uh, I'll say maybe 700, 800.
Okay, no, 340.
Oh, okay. It felt like it though when it was
Yeah,
by.
I know. But still like twice as quick as like or three times as quick as Flash. So
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, I feel like in this, I would say that I wouldn't use flashlight unless like I'm gonna like give more guide. I feel like I could use it if I put in more effort into the message, like into the
yeah,
stuff to
yep,
prompt it. It would need
yep,
more guidance, but I feel like you could certainly use Flash and work with it. Um, whereas Pro, you could take the scene pretty much off the bat and use that. Um, like I feel like you would get a full chapter out of that.
yeah, yeah. It feels like if you were giving Flashlight a lot of lore to draw upon, that it would do a much better job. But it's
Yeah,
having to invent a lot of stuff, and it didn't produce the upfront plan that Pro did of
yeah, that allowed it to then use the
yeah,
information.
yeah,
Which, given that it technically did more words of analysis, is surprising. Like you'd think that it would have more to draw on, but I guess maybe it's repeating the same things again and again. So that's pretty interesting. So my final test with this was I was wanting to do um, some writing analysis. So we did this for Claude, and we had some drunk Claudes. We were looking at the same chapter and just seeing what what's there, what it gives. And yeah, I think we're going to do the same with this. So I'm going to go into chat. I will. No, I'm going to go into prompts. I'm going to go on to Drunk Lord. Add collection, Gemini tests. Um, Flash. Um, that's fine. I'll leave those there. Writing. Chapter 1. Save. Actually, no. I'm going to do this as Pro because it's going to take longer. Um, what? Oh, that's annoying. Oh, okay. Now it just took a moment to. in the background, I'll set up. This is Flash. I do like how you can have two messages just generating at the same time. It makes things a lot easier. And I'm not worried about Flash at all because that'll be so quick that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, flashlight will be really quick.
Yeah. Okay, pin. And then let's do my final one. Yeah, immediately just like bloop.
Well, you did say let's go.
I did. Okay. I mean, interesting that they both Flash and
Yeah.
Flashlight were like, all right, all right. Boostlet. This has kind of got some character. I feel like it's hit the dystopian sci-fi of Urban Decay. Yep, that
Hmm.
feels
Yeah.
right. Means so, okay, so yep, it understands the purpose of the scene. Um, okay, yep, that's feedback I've had from other models about the middle bit being
Hmm.
tightened. That's fine. Okay, palpable. Um, okay, that seems fine with the characters. Seems to get them. Um, okay. Yep. Valid about the two exploratory. Um, confusing. I mean, it seems to like lay out everything. It's kind of forgotten its character by the time like it's done past
Yeah.
the first chapter.
Yep.
Um, um, okay. Yeah, and then it goes back to his character at the end. So fine.
Yep.
But yeah. Um, okay. Dystopian slice of life. That feels yeah, flashlight, Jean Luc was saying does not stay in character at all. Like it's like
Yeah.
character and then goes and then comes back.
I gotta say, I loved it naming it dystopian slice of life.
Yeah, that is cute. Like this scene is definitely like a dystopian slice of life because there's no plot yet. So yeah, it seems to understand the genre conventions. Um, oh, hiccup. Okay, so there's a bit more characterization. Um, yeah, the pacing that's fine. Um, blah blah blah. Um, Okay, yeah, showing that. Liar's voice distinct. Trauma triggered. Oh, I also like the flash light didn't get that Nova Bezos was the town, like the city, not the apartment building.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't quite get the nuances. I feel like this is giving more, but I don't know if it's necessarily more enough more. And like it's kind of kept a bit more to character, but not really. Like it's kind of forgotten quickly enough. Um, but it is giving good tropes. I like its layout. Interesting, it's given the same score. Yeah, but Flashes also stayed there. Okay, interesting. Right. Let's see how Pro does. Okay, well, let's hope that it continues on. I call it grease punk. I'm gonna be salvage punk. It's like, but it's not the end of the world. It's just Tuesday. People are still living, loving, getting pissed, and having a party when the lights go out. That's the heart of it. The intention of the scene, as I see, is to ground us firmly in that world, show us the community the way they cope, the fragility of existence, and to plant the first terrifying seed that something is properly wrong. It does that mostly. Okay, there's still some character like darkness. Bam, straight in, no faffing about. Yeah, it's kind of like it's got more character than the other two, but it's still like it's kind of going a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Although I really bloody like it. It's kept the like the English characterization, like the English pub guy
Yeah.
characterization going. My only gripe, and a small one, is that she feels I do like that they've noticed that it's like the importance of Kira, even though she's like literally not there. Okay. Yeah, so I feel like there's more character. It seems to have picked up on more nuances of the world building. Um,
It seems like it's consistently stayed in character. It's just the character isn't fully fleshed
yeah,
out like it is with the anthropic models.
yeah.
But
I feel like maybe that's like a thing in the prompting that we'd need to do. Like maybe just like tell it to be in character the entire time. Like it
yeah,
might just be that it kind of like doesn't quite get the nuance of like character work.
yeah. But what this does show that if you're looking for a kind of a little bit more neutral feedback, it does do a good job at that.
Yeah, very interesting. They gave the same score for all three models.
Mhm.
Um, I'm now kind of curious as to what the Claudes gave me. Um, so 5 or 6, 6. I don't know, and 8. So yeah, I think that's interesting. I feel like with this, we've kind of seen that you wouldn't want to use any of these Gemini models for characterization in this sense. You would have to do a lot of like work with it to get kind of you'd have to be more careful with your prompting, whereas Claude will just take a light bit of prompting for character and go and run with it. I think I found that sometimes with its writing as well, that there's a bit of a disconnect with the like in the prose with the characterization. Like it'll do good prose, but there's not that kind of like life in the same way to the characters. Hmm. Yeah, Jean-Luc says pro stays much more in character for sure, but they all offer some useful analysis. Absolutely. Like, I feel any of these would give you a good place to start. And it could be that you work your way up. Like, you start off with analysis from Flashlight, sort out those issues, and then you move on to Flash, and then you move on to Pro. Like, when you've got a polished manuscript, and you kind of get rid of those little niggles first. But yeah. Um,
Yeah, because I'm
yeah.
sure also there's plenty of writers out there that want feedback but don't necessarily want a strong personality.
Yeah.
And you know, the reason for the strong personality was to remove some of the inhibitions about providing, you know, good feedback. But I think like with these models, they're going to provide feedback regardless.
Yeah, I
You
feel
know,
like they're now actually giving feedback on the scene. It's interesting that they're so consistent as well. I'm kind of curious now. If I go boop boop, um,
yeah, I mean, Google did confirm, you know, that Flash and Flashlight are distillations of 2.5 Pro. So,
yeah,
you know, you would expect consistency there.
okay. Let's see if it how it does now, like with the explicit like stay in character. Um, I feel like there is more characterization here.
Yeah.
It's yeah, like the responses are a little bit more um so you can get there again. Just reading through this, remarkably similar to the how the other bit was structured out.
Hmm.
um okay, Jean-Luc asks what our overall thoughts on these models are. So I feel like you could do a lot with Flash and Flashlight. Like, I think getting you would need to put in more effort to use them. Like, I think it's the time money compromise again. Like, I think if you gave Flash or Flashlight enough context of your work, then you could get a lot out of them. However, they do rely more heavily on your input, whereas Pro will take the sparsest of things and kind of like use that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Pro will go out of its way to like take a very simple concept and build like scaffolding around it, and then
Yeah.
flesh out the scaffolding. Yeah, to me, like Flashlight and Flash are really good if you do have a lot of pre-existing context to draw on, just like we're seeing with the Drunk Claude. By giving it like a full chapter, it had like a lot to work with, right? It doesn't necessarily, you know, there isn't prompting, there isn't detailed prompting in there for the persona of Drunk Claude, right? So if that was important to you, you'd have to like, you know, like come up with that
Yeah.
character in more detail. Um, but for actual, you know, like outlining, you know, figuring out, just chatting about, you know, what's going on in scenes, you know, things where you're providing a lot of context to them all. It's like, you know, Flashlight and Flash are very powerful in that regard. And especially like if you had, this isn't specific to Novelcrafter, but like if you had an application where it was important to like get the results back quickly, we saw with Flashlight, it's like ridiculous. There's like no pause.
Oh, yeah, no, it would really go quick. I'm kind of curious now if I give it. I don't have additional context on this prompt, do I? Because yeah, I don't add in any other because otherwise
Mhm.
I'd be like, oh, give it context of them. So that's not really going to work. Give me one moment. Um, um, oh, I could add my additional details maybe, actually. Boop. Um, Try analyzing full book with flashlight. Oh my god. Go on. Well, let's go. I don't know if I've got enough in other acts. I'll do act two. Flashlight. Give it some additional. Oh, can I only? Oh my god, I can only add. I changed it so I can only add one. Wow, that's crazy. Okay, well, I'll give it context of Delilah then. Or Nova Bezos. I'll give it the Nova Bezos. Don't know why I'm not just using the bloody search function. There. Let's go. Oh my god, that took like a moment for it to start responding. Okay, neoclassical. Okay, it seems to have just done the first scene. Yeah, it's absolutely just gone for the first scene. In this, it's not done anything else, which is interesting. I'm kind of curious now. We can generate and go to the preview, and yeah, and it's absolutely had the context. It just doesn't want to use, and that's probably just to do with the prompt. So let's just go context acts. I mean, this is a really simple prompt. I've not given it any context. I'm just kind of curious. Oh, interesting. It's also only going for the first chapter. Please do this for the whole act, not just chapter 3. Okay, so I feel like it needs a bit of guidance.
Mhm.
In general, like I think flashlight needs more hand holding, which is kind of what we'd seen throughout. Like it's got a lot of promise, but it needs that support to actually come up with something that is um, along the lines of what you want. Um, yeah, yeah. What do you think, Corey?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Google's idea of flashlight is you would give it, this, and this, and then use flashlight to like stitch everything together.
Yeah,
Um, and so like when you're giving it like an entire act, um, you're not giving it, like you had to go back and giving instructions, on doing the rest of the chapters, right? So it's that's why I think it was it was aligned in that way. It was meant to stitch together things. Um,
And to be fair,
whereas,
like each message was like 0.6 cents.
yeah,
So for 40k words, I'm fine with that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It was like
Do you
60,000
have
tokens.
6/10 of a pence just laying around the house somewhere?
Probably, yeah. I mean, hopefully not cut into 6/10 of a pence. But yeah. So I think that's kind of like that's interesting. It's kind of like I feel like with the Claude or like with the Claude models, there was more of a it was a different type of difference. Whereas this feels like it's a iterative. I think because it's a model that's been distilled from a stronger model, these all feel like equal improvements, and they've kind of split things accurately for the cost. Whereas like with the Sonnet v Opus comparisons, there was like clear divides.
Yeah. Well, and
Um,
we don't have a Haiku 4 to compare it against to
True.
see, if it's something similar.
Yeah, that is true. Be interesting to see if we get a haiku 4.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm guessing not if they've not released it at launch. Like maybe they're going to do like a 4.5 or something. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that is a good point to finish on that. Where is on this Gemini stream? Our last point was, where is haiku 4? Um, but yeah, I guess if no one has any questions, we will head off. I will go and melt somewhere. Apologies if you've heard me fanning this entire time, but I'm like actually sweating, so this is too much exercise for me. And yeah, see you all on Wednesday. Bye.